I can't be too loud because Enzo is taking his little nap and I want to let him sleep. How are you guys? How are you guys doing? How's everyone's day going, I guess I should say. That was wild, honestly, going again. I mean, it's always such a rush, but I'm hoping that it gets more people that are sitting there wanting to go out and do this, right? Like I said, if that's not you and not your thing, hey, Tammy, how's it going? If that's not your thing, then, you know, start showing people this stuff before it's all pulled. YouTube got another whole announcement that they're not going to, they will be pulling more channels. A lot of you guys sent that to me, so you're doing Post-its and cards. That's fantastic. The Post-its are awesome because you're not vandalizing. Like it's a Post-it, you know, you're just sticking the Post-it on there. So laid my first Post-its yesterday. It's a rush, right? It's a different kind of, I don't know. What would that high be like? Because you're not stealing anything from the place you're at. You're actually leaving them something and you're leaving them information. It's like, what a rush. What a thing to do. It's helpful littering. Yeah, it's definitely not. Oh, okay. So for those who asked, let me move this stand really quick. This spot's like tripping me out. I'm going to try to save that live. I didn't realize that I had like their faces in it. So that's maybe not a good thing, but you know. Okay, so if you guys are like, how the heck is she recording? I was using this and I honestly thought that somebody was going to stop me and say something. I was using one of these. I got it on Amazon and it's like wallet phone holder. But so I literally kept it just on and this is where the camera was. So it kind of was like it would have been more obvious if they saw my phone, but maybe they thought it was a wallet. So I was like literally standing there like this, asking questions. So it was what, $14, I think was the cost. So you just hold it and you ask your questions. And then, when I wanted to turn it, I just lay it off to the side like this, where there's little corner. At the other one, I think one time it was on this side, one it was here. It doesn't matter. And then I literally laid it up against my bag, up like that. So that was what I used. It worked for now, you know. I was literally, I think one of the girls in the back was like staring at it and like from the side. So who knows? But it's like my phone. Everybody's got their phone. So yeah, monkey, cell, dog. This is the one that they were offering me because of the egg. And by the way, that wasn't really acting. I actually did have a really bad breakout with Aleve when I was a kid. I know that that's like the only medication that I can't take is Aleve because the one time that my mom gave it to me, I broke out in hives all over my entire body. Like whatever I was going through made it 10 times worse, and it was just hives everywhere. And my mom was like, well, let's wait this out and see if it passes. So, but it was, I think the same one that Nicole actually just went to a pharmacy after my live. And so it was this one, the Seqirus, and it's that formula. So he couldn't find any ingredients in here, but if you look under number 11 on this insert right here, it has the description, and the description says that Flucelvax quadrivalent is a vaccine for intramuscular injection. It goes on to give the, prepared from virus propagated in Madden-Darby canine kidney, which is MDCK cells, which is a continuous cell line. So that's the one that doesn't contain the egg. All right. But yeah, you could do the fanny pack thing too. I know that some people, I know that you guys are getting your own ideas here. My way is not the right way by any means. It's not the only way to ask questions. There's like a million ways to do this. So whatever it takes for you to, if you're still not convinced, just whatever it takes, right? Why can they tell you that these things are effective? And we've had these chats before. By the definition of effective means that it was adequate enough to accomplish a purpose, and it produced an intended or an expected result. That's what the word effective means to the mad science community. So it fulfilled a function. It fulfilled a specified function by the definition. So that's why they can say that, because if they inject foreign matter into the muscle, and at some point in the future, whether it's that same day, whether it's weeks from now, within hours, at some point in the near future, they could take a blood test after they do this in their testing, and they will see in their blood test that the foreign matter caused your body to generate some kind of antibody, whether it worked or not. That's key. So if your body generated an antibody, which it likely did because you put in foreign matter into your body, it would literally be like if you got stung by a mosquito. Your body is going to immediately generate some antibodies to help, like, fight off anything, because it was a foreign invader. So if it did generate these antibodies, then it fulfilled its specified function. Then they can say in their little labs that are, bought, right? They can say that, yeah, this was effective. It was effective in creating an antibody. But the presence of an antibody will not prevent or guarantee that you're going to get an illness or a disease. It can't, effective, in other words, is not a synonym for protection. So that's why they can use that word effective. And a lot of these doctors and, pharmacists just spew it without even realizing this. And every time you hear safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective, like the repeats, they've never been proven safe and effective. There has not been one study that has proven that if you get vaccinated completely by the CDC schedule, that you are healthier now than you were prior. There's not one. Okay? Effective does not keep you from getting sick either. And the word immunity means that your body has immunity to a disease or a virus. If you get vaccinated, you're not immunized. You know who's more immunized? The unvaccinated kid that got the disease naturally and now has lifelong immunity because they don't have to go in for booster after booster. They now have lifelong immunity. So unvaccinated children that have these titers tests that prove that they've already gone through the measles, their body has got and beat these mild childhood illnesses because, surprise, surprise, proper sanitation and some water, some clean water, right, does wonders. They're actually more immunized and they have real and true herd immunity. So, effective does not mean protective. And I don't know how hard it is for these people to grasp that concept. If a virus can't be perpetuated and transferred from person to person, in order for them to stop a spread, and their end result is continuously that the vaccinated populations will still get outbreaks. They're still going to get then guys, you're not giving anybody immunity. So it's a play on words. It's really a play on words. I'm hoping that I'm still on. Okay, so I kind of wanted to talk about the danger of where we're at right now as a society. I have I got all my notes here. I have a time limit for sure on when I'm going to be pulling my kids out of school. And I had a video on here that I'm going to share after the live. It was like a little 6-second clip that a mom videoed for me. I think one of her kids goes to a private Christian school, and it was like elementary, okay? The teacher was there talking about vaccines saving lives to elementary school students. So once again, I'm not judging people whose kids are in school. If your kid has to be in school right now, and if they're able to be in school because you don't live in like terrible California or New York, if they're in school and you are not teaching them about the other side of the argument, then get ready for your kid to be in their teens, you know, going into college, thinking that you're a crazy person and thinking that you are, you know, they're pretty much, you're gearing them up to be like the next Ethan Lindenberger. Okay. So she sent me this clip, and it is alarming what they're teaching in these schools. In fact, I had on one of our cell phones, like Jeff's old line, I let the kids use that as an emergency phone. So if Jeff and I like go out on a date night, or, you know, if my kids are with my parents, there's a phone that they get to use, and it's hooked up to, it's the one that I do like screen recordings with. But anyways, yesterday a text came through of a woman who was practically naked. And it said, "Hey, John, I met you on the cruise last year." So it's just like, okay, nobody in my family named John. Nobody's been on a cruise. I've gone on I think the last cruise I went on was like 3 years ago, but my husband didn't go, you know. So this text came through. So it's already pretty much pornography coming through onto cell phones. And you got parents all over the place who their children have cell phones. A lot of my friends, they give their tweens cell phones already, and they say that they monitor them and everything. But you guys, this kind of spam is coming in through text messaging already. Grown men, okay, adult men have a hard enough time with this kind of thing. Okay, how many men are addicted to that? You know, I've done talks on that. I won't go there for right now. But it is messing with their brains. It really is. And how is that legal? How is that allowed? You know, I tried to report the number. There's nothing I can do. I literally put wrong number, and then the message afterwards was like, "Oh, come on, you know, well, now that I've told you my name, what's your name?" You know? And I was just like, it's Lowlife, actually. But, you know, forget all jokes aside and going back and forth with this person, it's a spam call, and it's literally pushing porn onto the populace. What's scary about that is it was my kid's phone. Like, it's the line that they use, and thankfully they didn't see the message, but that's everywhere already. And you got parents that are like, it sucks right now because we finally got our daughter an iPad because she's been begging for one for 5 years. And I'm like really regretting it right now because we only allow her 30 minutes a day. It's on timer. You know, she's only allowed to use it with us, and she's in the living room. And we can't prevent the pop-ups. We can't prevent what she sees. And even if she wants to try out something and we turn off comments, you guys, it takes one comment. You know how many children are killing themselves? Like, how many kids are committing suicide over cyberbullying? It takes one loser on the internet to tell your kid that they suck, you know, that they're stupid, for them to, and that, you know what, they're gonna then, if they're not a strong type that's awake to this kind of stuff, and most kids really aren't, many kids are a little more sensitive. What's terrifying is that they're going to believe that stranger on the internet over you. Case in point, my daughter thought she was everything, a princess, like just she could do whatever she wanted. She just had the most optimistic. Amelia was, I mean, she's still an amazing kid, but you know, she just had this like light about her that everything. And it took 1 week in preschool. This was back in California. That in that first week, I think it was day 3, some kid called her stupid and ugly. And like a 4-year-old, right? And what do they know? Or they probably have older siblings that do it to them, because typically I teach my kids that bullies are usually being bullied. They're usually being bullied at home by an older sibling or even by a parent. So that's why they push that onto you. But it took one instance and one kid for this like light that she had in her to just shut off. It didn't matter how many times mommy and daddy told her she was awesome. It's like she believed this kid that she doesn't even know over us. And that was like a really hard next week or two. And I think that was my, opening and into just what is school nowadays. Many of you guys sent me that video of that 12-year-old that got sucker punched. That video is so horrific, honestly. I was going to share it on my Instagram, and I was like, I just had a pit in my stomach, because this boy seriously looked like he could have been my brother. Just this, lanky kid who looked like he kept to himself, and he's in school and other kids were videoing it, and he got sucker punched so hard across the face that he fell back completely, and his head hit a brick wall, and he died. This recently happened. So parents are furious, and they're out to get the superintendent of the school because of bullying. And it's like, you think, okay, what schools have literally that zero tolerance for bullies? And every school seems to have a zero tolerance, but it can still happen. And so I'm just saying, we have a lot of bigger issues and problems when it comes to our kids and what kind of world they're growing up in now. I tried to watch Black Mirror. Many of you guys watched that show, and I literally, oh my God. Okay, that first episode, I was like, I understand Tavistock Institute, and I understand that they purposefully generate. If you don't think that you can get some kind of mind control and trauma from watching TV, like, ask yourself, why do you cry sometimes at movies? Why can you they know what these things can do, and subjecting your eyes to these kind of images. Maybe it was my fault. I shouldn't have watched it at night, but I was just like, it is very realistic because of the way technology is going. And so many parents are out there getting their kids these virtual sets, and they're so cheap. They're like, oh, I got my kid that virtual thing that you could put over the phone. Do you guys know the free apps they're offered with virtual reality? Free apps, like there's games where you can, and they're free to download. A friend was showing me a game where it's literally like a bunch of little Asian girls. I mean, use your imagination, or not. And the point is to like come off pretty much in this virtual reality game. And it's like, kids are playing this. Do you know what your kids are up to? I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if you are unfortunately having to send your kids to these schools, you have to be talking to them. You have to be unschooling them as much as possible while you're working on your plan for the next thing. I mean, the best thing really would be to yank them out. And that's why we are on the clock right now, because children are actually getting dumber by staying in these institutions. They're getting dumber. Did you see that they are trying to pass something to add a 5th year to high school? How about instead of adding a 5th year to high school, you look at the flipping curriculum and what you're teaching these kids? If you look at all of the statistics of homeschooling, and this, I'm not knocking teachers. If I have any teachers on here that follow, I mean, it is a Tuesday. What are you doing on an Instagram Live right now? But if I have any teachers on here that follow, I'm not knocking you. I know that many teachers get into this with like these hopes and dreams and aspirations to like really train up the new next generation, really. But then their own desires are instantly crushed. Not only is the pay absolute crap, but many of them are shown the curriculum. They can't really do anything past the curriculum. I have a friend who quit her teaching job because she was put on a suspension for telling a elementary kid to stop stealing. He was stealing, I think, like pens from everybody in the class. And maybe I'll have her on a live one day and she could tell the story, because she's no longer teaching. this boy was stealing from all the kids, and they were telling him to stop. So when she told him to stop stealing, guess what he did? He ran home, told his mommy. Mommy came to the school, had a talk with all of the staff, the principal, to go after this teacher, this friend, for telling the kid to stop stealing. Because for this mother, she said she should have used the word borrowing. It is not borrowing if nobody wants you to have it for a second. So this teacher, hands tied, literally. Her hands were tied. You know what the school decided to do? The principal pulled her aside and was like, look, we side with you, we agree with you, but this mom is about to make like a really big stink. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to put you on like a 3-week suspension just to like appease the parents. Are you kidding me? So she quit, because for her, she's like, how do I go back to this school now that kid is going to think I'm his bitch? There's so many things that the teachers can't teach anymore. And so you have to look up these rates, and statistically, parents that are pulling their kids out of schools that are, get this, amateurs, because you went to school for 12 years and you graduated and you don't know how to freaking teach what you just learned, because you didn't learn anything. You learned how to obey orders. You learned bullshit, absolute useless crap that's not going to help you in the real world. Was that like a Morgellon up in here? What was that? Don't get into my nostrils. I can't. Yeah, by the way, that video won't upload. It just won't. I'm struggling. I tried to rename it. I did all the things you guys told me to do. It will not let me. But our kids are getting dumber. A lot of that has to do with the fluoride. I'm going to do this new thing, okay? Because 2020 is around the corner. That means Healthy People 2020. I literally will not argue with anybody or talk to anybody, even answer their question on here, if they're still brushing their teeth with fluoride. I just won't. I won't do it. I keep talking about raising up my standards, and I'm like, I better start really applying it to my life. If you still brush your teeth with fluoride, please do not come and talk to me. We can't even have a conversation. You are literally putting rat poison into your system. Everybody in this country has been brainwashed, and I can get to why they're putting it in our water and not, there's many other European countries that don't have fluoride in it anymore. And why is that? It's not that America, we are still one of the last few remaining countries that have our rights to defend ourselves. Okay? We still have the right to concealed carry. There's many states here that are still like the Wild Wild West. They know that. So they got to get us in other ways. And this is a big way to get us. But it is one of the most malevolent lies that they have told this populace. And we think that vaccines are the problem. Fluoride, okay, by 2006, and look up the Great Fluoride Deception. There's like a 30-minute documentary on YouTube. Please watch it before it's pulled. The Great Fluoride Deception. Okay, so in 2006 in America, 69.2%, almost 70% of our population on public water systems was ingesting fluoridated water. And they push it so hard here because, once again, most Western European countries' waters that don't have fluoride in them, they have already been part of the indoctrination system into socialism. Okay, communism, they don't want to call it that, so they call it socialism. But many of them have already lost their right to defend themselves. Look at you got people in Europe, they're trying to ban knives in some sections because, surprise, surprise, people are still killing other people. Surprise, lawbreakers don't care about laws. It's like, it's honestly more unsettling that people don't understand that. And Europe has already been indoctrinated into this. There's so many other countries that they don't have rights to defend themselves. The citizens don't. Only the government workers do. So for them, it's like, let's not waste that. But they were able to sell it. Okay, they sell the fluoride to our water companies in this country. And for them, it was a win-win because it eliminated the costly need for them to dispose of actual toxic waste. Fluoride is absolute rat poison. It's the principal ingredient in rat poison. It is that effective. Okay? If you don't think fluoride is poisonous, and you got people on here who are like, well, you know, it's only in small, forget the trace amounts people, okay? I got a lot of like not nice things to say about these trace amouncers. If your kid were to accidentally swallow an entire tube of toothpaste, they could die. You would have to call poison control. So if a tube of toothpaste is sufficient enough, with enough fluoride in it, to kill a small child if it were consumed in one sitting, how have we allowed this? How has it been allowed? They duped us big time with the fluoride lie. If you don't believe me, you guys, both the Russians and the Germans were adding fluoride to the drinking water of prisoners of war during World War II. That is a fact. Why did they do it? They added it so that the prisoners would be docile and subdued, so that they wouldn't be able to think for themselves and they wouldn't get up the nerve to ask or question. And we're believing our government right now when they tell us that it's harmless to ingest it. I'm really floored. I'm really floored. And you know, I did a tweet the other day where I was like, if they really cared about us, then they would add vitamins to the water. But then, you know, backtrack on that, honestly, because if the government were to announce that they added vitamins to our water, I'd question their vitamins, honestly. I'd be like, nope, because I've seen what your FDA approval is on your version of vitamins, government, and it's not okay with me. And it shouldn't be okay with anybody. But fluoride's benefits are not, it's not even beneficial. They're trying to say that it's more beneficial if it's topical. I'm losing it. There's like zero science behind fluoride being okay, and it's in our water. We're bathing in it. It's in our, people are cooking with it. How is this myth still around? I could literally spend hours and hours talking about fluoride, but I don't need that much time to see it, to see that it's poison. And they're giving it to your kids in school. What do you think is in their drinking water in school? Even their filtered versions. So now we have bigger issues, movement, that is pulling their kids out. You have to look up the Sustainable Development Plan. You have to be researching Agenda 21. Taking your kids out is not going to be enough because, yes, you're going to definitely hit these states where it hurts because the schools get paid per kid that's attending. We've done talks on this. They get about $100-something per kid per day to attend school. That's the only reason the school gives a crap if your kid is absent. They don't care about anything. They only care when your kid is absent because they're not going to get paid. So, this is why they are trying to go after homeschooling next. Once enough parents pull their children out of school, your job is not done. The fight is not over. They're now going to demonize homeschooling and homeschooling parents. Guaranteed, they're going to start coming up with bills so that they can still get their dirty little hands on your children. I'm already seeing things being proposed that you can't even get approval for the homeschooling curriculum in some states. They're trying this. This is incredibly terrifying. This is incredibly terrifying that they're doing this. Look, if you don't think you're in one big human farm, look at where we're at right now. You can't be, if you can't be seen, okay? If you're pregnant, you can't be seen by an OBGYN, many of them, if you don't comply with the schedule. If you don't take their advice, if you're not going to, they will not want anything to do with you. Hell, my midwife, my first midwife, the one that I parted ways with, didn't want to take me as a patient because there were some procedures I didn't want to do. And for her reasoning, it was, well, you know, if you're not going to do these labs or these tests or any of this stuff, then I don't want to deal with you because if something were to happen and you didn't get this test done, it's like, okay. And then I found out eventually that Strep B test The issue there is that if you actually have it and you're in the hospital with the midwife on the in case that you can't do the home birth and there was a full-on emergency and you have to be in a hospital, if the hospital has to do the test, you now are on the hospital's radar where they're going to be questioning you and they're going to likely contact CPS because you didn't get these things done. So tell me you're not in one big enslavement right now. You can't be seen by many of these health professionals if you're not complying. That's while pregnant. That's before the baby even comes out. You got them pushing the flu shot on pregnant women, and then you have these morons that are accidentally injecting people with insulin instead of the flu shot. Like, no one's reading. Your kids can't be born at many hospitals if you don't comply. And people are, oh, well, I'm still planning on having a hospital birth, and I'm still like, I'm not telling you what to do, but you're entering into the lion's den. You can't complain. How many of us, you guys saw that RN's post last week, right? That RN who admitted that when parents say no, and she's been doing this for decades. Did you guys see that disgusting post? I didn't block her name. She said she's been doing this for decades already, and any time that she would have a parent that would turn down the vitamin K shot, she would just take the baby anyway and inject them. And after I made that post, I had so many of you DMing me, checking your hospital records, seeing that your babies did in fact get the vitamin K and Hep B when you told them you didn't want it. And they billed your insurance anyway, and they did it anyway. One of you even sent me a video clip. I'm waiting on your permission to share that. I can block your name. Sent me a video clip of the nurse in the room and literally just swiped it in. Like gave them the injection anyways. And mama was in the bed, and it was like something that I think her husband had recorded because he thought that they were just bathing the baby. When they take your baby from you after you give birth and you're just like numbed completely and you're like dying because you had just like this near-death experience because you were in one of the worst places to have a baby, they're taking your precious baby and they're like, that's what they did with my first. That's what they did with Amelia. I told her nothing. I went through a 39-hour labor. They were literally about to cut me open and I was like, I told them nothing. Nothing. She took my baby to the bath station, which was all wrong. I should have skin to skin, but this was like almost 10 years ago, okay? So give me a break. I didn't know any better. And she goes, I was like, excuse me, what are you doing? I said no vaccines. And she's like, oh, this is just a vitamin. And I was like, I don't want any injections. And I looked at my husband and she's like, it's just a vitamin. And she gave it to my daughter anyways. I was too weak. I think I was just like, I didn't research. I didn't know the vitamin K one. I just knew I didn't want vaccines. And so many of you had the same flipping experience. The same. You're going to a place. That's not your den. Okay, that's their den. That is not your territory. That's theirs. They own your ass. Oh, you think you have rights? I wrote up a freaking birth plan. I hand wrote a birth plan thinking they were going to actually read it. They don't give two shits about you. So now you got issues where they're setting it up so that your kids can't be born at their hospitals if you don't comply. Watch. It's happening. Your child can't attend daycare or school if you do not comply. You can't keep your insurance if you're on any kind of government assistance. They are booting people off left and right because their children are not complying. So the insurance is dropping them. You can't attend their colleges and their institutions if you do not comply. You can't fight and die for this country if you're in the military if you do not comply. Because to them, you've signed over your body to the U.S. government anyway, so they're going to test your ass. I've got friends in the military who, like, they say when they call them in to go get these vaccines, they don't even get to ask which vaccine that they're getting. All right? And I have a good friend whose sister fell into, like, a 3-week coma. She went into a military base, and you know what they asked her? They just said, do you plan on having any children anytime soon? And she's like, no. She found it odd that they even asked her that. Vaccinated her with whatever. and she ended up in a hospital for weeks. Can't go after them. It's getting to where you cannot have fill-in-the-blank career unless you're compliant. Okay, food handlers cards. So many people that I'm meeting around here, especially that work on the strip, if they work in the restaurant business or the restaurant industry, they're like, oh yeah, we had to go to this place to get our food handlers card, and then they made us get the Hepe. And I'm like, you know that you have a religious exempt, right? You're in Nevada. Oh, I didn't realize I could use that. Like they literally, it's like, obey, 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 follow orders, don't ask questions. This is a part of the schooling system. So all of it kind of comes together. You need a food handler's card, you're working in that kind of industry, they're going to make you get stuff, okay? People who work around any children, they're going to make you get stuff. I have like neighbors here, the first year that we moved out this way, who we were looking for a sitter. And I just wanted to like, you know, somebody who could just come for like just a few hours here and there. I just wanted to like, I need somebody that I can trust because I don't know anybody here. And many of these moms around here won't even, like, their babysitters have to be fully. It's getting now, if you're reading Agenda 21, if you're reading their sustainable development plan and it's all depopulation, it's getting to where you're not going to be able to travel unless you comply with their schedule. They've made it and they've designed everything here so that we need money. We need their system. Like, you can't live without money in this country. You can't do it. It's the only means to pay for anything. If you're even 100% debt free, you don't owe anything on credit, you literally owe people nothing. Let's say your house is paid off, you don't even own that land. You have to pay property tax on that land. So you got a lot of these people that are off grid, that what are they doing? They still have to work 2 to 4 weeks out of the year to pay for the property tax. So it's like, good luck. Many of them are like, they're trying to make jams. They're trying to make a bunch of things. Like that's why many of them get into supplements. They get it. And guess what? They're going after that shit too. They're going after that too. It already doesn't get FDA approval. They're going to start banning it. You can't sell anything without their approval. Like, they're literally making it impossible for you to have a living and get on with your life unless you are freaking compliant. And people still think that those in charge care about them. You will soon not be able to be approved for credit. You're not going to be able to purchase a home. You're not going to be able to get a business loan unless you are compliant. And they are going after homeschooling next. They know what's about to happen. Exactly. And the thing, the mark of the beast thing, honestly, like, yeah, I'm with you on that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so, everybody wants to like trickle it down to what exactly the mark of the beast is. And the more that I've read Revelation, the more that I'm like, it's definitely, it's in here. Your mark of the beast is where your mind is and where your mentality is on all of this, if you've accepted it or not. Like, that is where, for me, the mark lies. It's here. And they're trying to control that too. The Bill of Rights, you guys, was supposed to limit our government. It was never supposed to limit the freaking people. And I don't think that people are paying enough attention. You know, like I said, I shared that stack of books in that post. I shared that stack of books, and I know that I had like little the NWO book on the bottom. That book, by the way, there's only 2 pages dedicated to the V topic. That is how cherry on the freaking cake of shit all of it is. It's not even like the biggest part. All of those books. But this, I mean, this is the only one that matters. If you guys are feeling scared and all of that stuff, I'm sorry, this is the only one that matters. This wasn't on the list. This is it. This is the only book that matters in all of it. Because when I start having my moments where I'm feeling like I'm about to cave because I can't anymore, it's all too much, I am reminded that throughout history, the promise has always been that God's people are going to constantly be attacked in one way or another. This is not new. We are being attacked regardless. Our future children are going to be attacked regardless because evil is on this planet. Evil lives here. This is the devil's world. That's why it says to not be a part of it, to live in it and not be a part of it, and don't let it get to you here. This is where it's important. And they are purposefully and by design poisoning our men because we are not physically the same. I don't care who you are. Our men are stronger than us, but not with the atrazine, not with the fluoride, not with the pornography, not with everything that poison this and keep them subdued and docile. This is the only freaking thing, man, out of all those books that's giving me any kind of hope, because throughout all of it, what go by and the people end up sinning again, and the people end up sinning again, and they end up sinning again. But what happens? It's why? Because there's a free will. There is a free will. And I know that I'm preaching to myself here because I have way too many of you who have profiles that state that you are the son of a king, the daughter of a king. And we're not acting like children of a king when we're living in crippling fear over this kind of world that we're in right now. But this has been written. Everything is supposed to happen the way it's happening. It's literally the only thing that is getting me through. And say it. You've been lied to. You've been so lied to. We've all been lied to. So it's okay. We're just getting through this together. It's just another, you know what? It's just another blip. Years and years are going to go by and there's going to be a whole new set of, it's a woke generation of kids that we've kept poison free as much as possible. And it will be their battle to fight, right? It's not your battle is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's all of our battle, but the constant thing is that the devil is always going to attack the light bearers because we've replaced his ass as the light bearers. That was his job. And now it's our job, and he hates us. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you eradicate vaccines. If in a dream world we eradicated vaccines, we got rid of the fluoride in our water. You guys, he's got something else up his sleeve all the time. It's about staying vigilant all the time. It's not about, well, everything's great now, God has saved us, because it's only going to be a matter of time. Till the next freaking thing. It's only going to be a matter of time. And with all of the lies unraveling, more and more truth coming out that this, like, more and more things are just proving this. I got sent a PDF and actually from the original Bible. And I think it's only $95 to download the entire thing. There's like the 35 verses in there of the dragons in the Bible. There's countless verses in there of the firmament and how it was originally described. And it makes more sense than we were taught. It's literally... It sounds depressing, but then it does also sound like, I'm sorry, just weight gets lifted off my shoulders. And if that doesn't work for you, I can't help you. But atheists who research the NWO and research Agenda 21 become believers. Because it's hard to piece together. And there's so many books on that. And it's great. It's a great thing. Man, because case in point. But you guys need to be researching statistics on school. You need to stop living in the lie that told you that you are inadequate to teach your own children, to have your own children, and to take care of your own children. That's it. Look at the entire hospital system. What can't you do? Okay, I can't amputate a leg. I can't, there's quite a few things there I cannot do. But do you know what, like, hydrogen peroxide is? Do you know how to, like, clean a cut? Or are you so ill-equipped that if your kid were to fall, scrape himself, and get a bloody cut, that your initial response is that you need to run to the ER. That's indoctrination. That's brainwashing. How dare these people tell us that we don't know how to teach our kids, how to take care of our kids? Literally, how dare they? And then you're going to send your kids to their indoctrination centers that will solidify that and prove to these kids that your parents are not equipped. They're dumb. You're going to forget that we trained them too to stay dumb, but it's okay. You're going to keep buying it and believing us. They practice it in China. They did it in China in like the 50s and 40s. They went there. They were testing it. They tested. A bunch of China had homeschooling. Now it's illegal to homeschool in China. It's illegal. You will be fined. You'll be put in prison if you're homeschooling your kid. But back in like the 40s, it took 2 Americans, right, conducting their tests on schooling and the education system, and it literally just took 1 generation for them to convince the entire country that this is the way. Let the government teach your kids. There's actually no idea that is more radical than putting your children, your beloved kids, into a system with complete strangers who will teach and mold their minds for the next 12 years. That is one of the most radical concepts that we've all accepted. And I know many of you guys are going to start researching how to do it, how to homeschool, but just understand that they're going to be going after your homeschooling rights very soon here too. So while you're researching that, probably look up your actual rights and who you're going to need to fight and go after. Because they know that they're going to lose money. You're hitting them twice, right? You're hitting pharma because you're not complying with their schedule, and you're hitting the education system. And get this, you as the taxpayer still has to pay in to that bullshit. You still have to pay into all of it. It's a fire code permission. I'm glad that got shut down quick, but that's only because enough people were awake to what the hell was happening. So it's all in all, like I'm trying to see that silver lining, right? Because the silver lining, once again, is that God didn't ever want your kids to be in the hands of those people to be trained up. So you have to start viewing things in that kind of light, and it's going to be a little bit easier on you. And the more I look into it too, because parents don't want to feel stupid, the parents who are actually succeeding in the homeschooling, which seems to be just about everyone because there's so much help out there and there's actual communities for it, is that they're going on these learning journeys with their kids. They are learning alongside their kids. And the kid gets the biggest life lesson of them all, which is, wow, I'm just going to never stop learning. I'm going to continue to learn. Even when I'm mommy's age, when I'm daddy's age, I'm just always going to be learning. That, yes. Homeschooling, yeah, it seems to be statistically 100% better in every aspect. Because the school just seems to be all about conformity, and it's just prepping your kids and inspiring them to join up in a workforce. So that's why I had the other day when I went off on my little rant, I have, you got people that are literally like, they think that the 9 to 5 is the way to go. And they're just ragging on the people that have literally gotten to financial freedom by not sticking with that system. Because, and I said that those kind of jobs like direct sales, network marketing, it's definitely not for everybody. But I honestly think that the human being before they were so indoctrinated was born with the sparks of creativity. Like we all had it. We all were born with it, with the creativity, with the desire to do better with our lives, but if you're sending your kids for that long, when they're most when they're most impressionable, right? And they're sponging up everything, and you're sending them to a place where they are constantly taught that they are like nothing special. What can that do to a person? Then yeah, that's how you have all these people that are like bitter and depressed about their lives walking around. So it's really hard. It's really hard to deal with with the crowd. That's why I'm going to these places and they're just parroting things. Yeah, it's just the science. It's just the science. And then you're like, when America was a new nation, ordinary citizens were encouraged to read whatever they wanted. Flash forward to where we are now. You're being blocked. You're not allowed to read certain things. Certain books are being pulled. The close reading of tough-minded writing is still the best, quickest, most inexpensive method for learning and to think for yourself. It's literally the most revolutionary pedigree of just across the board. Asking questions, comprehending, and they're not even teaching this anymore to kids. It's really just, you know, a lot of people are talking about a revolution that needs to happen. I'm with you. I'm with you guys. But you know what? Who's going to do it? This is the part that kind of gets to me sometimes because, yeah, lately it has been a lot of women because we're the ones like at home and with the kids. And I get that there's a lot of men in this fight, but when is it going to seriously, like, what's going to be the final straw for these men? And at that point, is it going to be too late because they're so... How do you have a warrior guy, like, how do you have a warrior man at home with actually like a burning desire, like the fire in him to give a shit about his kids and his family? Like, you got men out there that they don't even care to research this stuff. They leave it all to the women. They don't care to research this. They've left it to the doctors. They've left it to the scientists who are failing you every day. There's not even a burning desire in you as a man. Like, this, just, I'm speaking to the ones who just don't care. There is no burning desire in you to know what is being injected into your body and into the bodies of your kids. None at all. Why do you think that is? And long story short, yes, people don't care about kids anymore because we're in a country right now that doesn't even recognize children as children. Half this country thinks it's about your body, your choice, and that baby in there is not a real human until it's out there breathing. It's not. It's only real if you wanted the baby. If you wanted that baby, then it's a real human. But if you didn't want the baby, then honey, it's okay. It's whatever you want to do, and it should be totally up to you, you know, because that's a parasite in there. So yeah, this is where we're at. This is where we're at, and this is where we're supposed to be at. I do still have a lot of hope for the next generation of kids because, look, when SB 277 passed, it was something like, 13,000 families that had pulled their kids out of school. That cost the state millions of dollars, which is why they tried to come up with some of those stupid fire bills. Like, we need to now check your house if you're homeschooling. We got to check your fire alarms. Like, are you kidding? You know how much money that's going to cost the state? What a waste of time that is for firefighters. So many of the firefighters, thank God, complained, but they're going to try to come up with more dumb shit like that. So just be on the lookout. Remain vigilant with all of that. But with SB 276 and all of the families in California that cannot move, that are pulling their kids out, that just this year did, they don't have the numbers yet. They're going to get those numbers in the calculations by the end of this first semester, trust. And they're going to see, they probably already have a decent fix on it, but that number is pretty high. They're only going to know their actual losses for the semester coming up here soon. They might wait till the year's over to then be like, yeah, this many parents pulling their kids out to homeschool cost the state this much money. And California's already broke. So they will go after your asses one way or another. What are my plans here? I I can't be doing this for long. Okay, not with all the censorship, not with all, nope, it can't happen. So yeah, my hope and prayer is that more men take it upon themselves. I would love for guys to be sitting back and going, what is this little 5'0" girl doing? You know, trying to just wake people up. What is she doing going around speaking to all of these people? Like, and I want them to get the burning sensation and desire, like in their freaking loins, to say, no, this movement is not going to be like for, you know, these little women to, you know, whatever. It's for all of us. I'm just saying, God, I want the patriarchy back in some kind of way, but I want it back in the way that, like, just protect us and defend us again and want to, you know, that's how I mean it. Not saying women suck and we can't do it. That's not what I'm saying. But if men could just be like, dude, this is not that, that's not that girl's job on the end. That's not her job to go and do that and call these people out. That's a man's job to do that. Because what would have happened if grown men were standing alongside those two women at the Jimmy Kimmel show and stood up to, looked Kimmel in the eyes, looked Kristen Bell in the eyes, and said, your rhetoric has cost thousands of people their livelihoods in California. You have driven people out. Your rhetoric has caused our friends and family to turn their backs on us over flawed, failed science. What would they have done? You really think security would have been able to rough up those two women the way that they did in that dark little hallway? If grown-ass men freaking stood up and saw this kind of injustice? We're waiting on you. I would love it. I know we got the informed father on here. I would love 1,000 of him. Are you kidding me? I would love 1,000 of him all over the internet. What are they going to do? What are these doctors going to do and say when these grown-ass men come in and start asking them questions? Oh, are you going to use the essential oil thing on him? Are you going to do that? Are you going to dare do that? Where are you? Clock's ticking. Babies are dying. Let's go. I'll meet the Shermans. Bonus points if you're nice to look at, for sure. No, but guys, I'm telling you, clock's ticking. Literally, it's going to kick me off this live in just a second, but we need you. We need you. Jump on. Do a 5-minute. Guys, this isn't cool. Hey, all the guys out here, do you know that they're forcing this crap on our kids? That it comes with these kind of risks? That unless we get this crap done, we're not going to be allowed to do this, this, and this. That it's flawed science. Like, where? Whole forums of it. And I will happily go and shut the hell up. Make me shut up. I'll do it. If there's that many people, then I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. They got that. They got that topic. Because I am now researching all the symbolism and all of that of the Illuminati, and I've got a lot of other things that I want to talk about, and, you know, like a whole other thing. Because it's terrifying, too. Let's go. Hashtag make Talia shut up. Can we just get more of these people, please? Just come on out. Do it. Whatever. Until you do, I will continue bugging the hell out of these medical professionals. So make me shut up.